Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land, how are you doing this week? I hope everybody is ready. So, we got a couple things we need to talk about before we switch over to this week. I've been talking to my Instagram crew, but officially, what's up, Instagram? What's up, YouTube? Hello to Jayla, to Courtney, to Robert, and everybody that is over in the comments. All right. So, we got a couple things that we have to talk about this week. Hello to Smell Good Spa. Also, Dominion Travel Services. Thank you for stopping through. And hey, Miss Courtney, what's going on? What's good? Courtney is tired. We have worked her to the bone. And also the Fragrance Nook when she gets online as well. I thank both of those ladies. Let me send a shout out to some of my Instagram folks. So for those of you that are new to me, I am Tina, and welcome everybody to the Bubbles and Flames podcast. Originally, this podcast was designed for candle and soap makers, but I opened it up to anybody that has a business. And definitely, we're going to add body products, so you're more than welcome to hang out with us. Let me send some shout outs to my folks over on Instagram. I have Urban Jungle Scents, I have Mama Sweet Scrubs, I have my cousin Sheila, Heavy Pages Podcast, and Dominion Travel Services. So you all are over here to my right, whereas YouTube and Facebook are to the left. So what I do is I look back and forth. And of course, if you have comments, just put them in the perspective comments below. All right, so I do have the Chandler's Rose in the building, so we'll go ahead and kick this off. So for the last 3 weeks, we gave away well over 350 recipes. I told you that those recipes would be available, so I will announce that once they are available between myself and Courtney and also the Chandler's Rose and the Fragrance Nook. We are trying to compile all of those recipes. All right. So we have not forgotten, but that's a lot of blends that we gave away. Couple of announcements. I was getting ready to say church announcements, but a couple of podcast announcements. We talked about the blends. Don't forget, if you have anything that you're doing for Teachers Appreciation Week, how could I forget? Nurses Appreciation Week is also going on, right? So don't forget if you've got some specials that you can run for that this week. And then, of course, Mother's Day rounds it out for this week. So I just wanted to give you all some reminders about that. And for those of you that are not used to me, I cheat and look at my notes. I have notes to my right and my left, so I don't forget to share with you all what is going on. Hey, Miss Mori. You all know that's my baby mama, even though she doesn't have any children. We have fur babies together. All right. So welcome, Maury. Also, let me say this now before I forget. For any of my businesses, this is something that happened to me on Monday. So I wanted to make sure that you all were aware. For anybody that is on Amazon, go to Google and search your name. The reason why I say that is because I found out that someone was reselling my candles that I have on Amazon on eBay. And they had two different listings. One was for double what I sell them for, and one was for 1.5. So what he was doing is selling them, buying them for me was his plan if somebody wanted one, and then he would send them over to Israel. And I just happened to find out that, I just happened to find out that that was happening from talking with Keisha from My Key Candle Co. So Keisha, I appreciate you. We were talking about marketing and SEO and Google, and I just happened to look and I saw two listings for eBay, which I'm not on, that are not mine. So I know Smell Good Spa is out there. I think Mahogany Organics is thinking about getting on to Amazon. So I just wanted to share that. Yes, I reported them. I actually reported them twice per listing for copyright. So hopefully they will take that down. But I wanted to share that with you all and make sure that you all knew if you have a business on Amazon. They took my complete Amazon listing literally and copied it over to eBay. If you go over, you'll actually see it over on eBay because I'm sure they haven't taken it down yet. All right. So I just wanted to share that with those of you that are on Amazon because we put in a lot of hard work. And doing a shameless plug while I'm talking about Amazon, I actually have my Amazon candles on sale through the end of this week. If you need something within the next 2 or 3 days, it's on Prime shipping. So go ahead and check those out. Those are my marble candles. All right. And speaking of which, let me, and you over on my Instagram crew, you all can't see this. Let me share with you because you all probably thought that I forgot about it, but I didn't. So what you all can't see on Instagram is that I have, let me pick you all up for a second. You're actually on my phone. Let me just turn it this way. All right. All right. So we're going to do the infamous drawing for the Nubian Queen candle. And actually, ironically, Jayla got her candle today. So I'll let her share her feedback with you all. But the only 4 people that followed all the directions 1 through 3, are Stacy Richardson, Smells You Remember, which is Abba, Love You Bunches Candle Co., which is Courtney, and Mahogany Organics. All right, so it's only 4 of them. So you all are actually going to watch me do the drawing live. All right, and here we go. And I'm not over on the podcast information, so if you're making comments, I can't see them. But good luck to the 4 ladies, and here we go. All right. And congratulations is going to go to Miss Abba from Smell You Remember. All right. So, Abba, I will get with you to get your address. And congratulations to the other ladies for participating and for everyone else in Instagram. Hold on, I'm going to turn you back around here. And for everyone else, stay tuned because I am going to do giveaways once a month. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. It might be once a month, once every other month. Depends on when I can do it. Did everybody get to see the drawing? Let me see. Was everybody able to see it? How about over here on Instagram? And of course on YouTube. All right. All right. Okay, Courtney. All right. And Smell Good Spa, you are quite welcome for that heads up. I'm just catching up on my comments. All right. So if Abba, it doesn't look like Abba is in here yet. So I will reach out to her once she comes in. But congratulations to Abba on that. She finally won one. So Abba, I will be contacting you. And as I said, for everyone else, look out for the next giveaway. All right. All right. So we talked about last week and the prior weeks, right? We talked about that. We talked about what I wanted to speak with you all about for Amazon, and we just did the giveaway. All right, so let's talk about what we're going to discuss this week, which is vessels and containers, finding the right vessels and containers for your business. All right, so don't be afraid to put your comments in. I'll read them for you, or if you want to come up, you're more than welcome to do so. All right, so what I wanted to share with you is how easy do you all think it is to find products, excuse me, to find vessels for your brand? All right, oops, sorry about that. Hang on a second. Let me pull up my notes here that I wrote for this week. What's the importance? What's the importance of representing your brand through your containers? Do you just want to pick anything? And I'm waiting on feedback before I keep going. How important is it to have proper branding when you're out there amongst the competition. Do you think that branding sets you apart from your competition? Does that set you apart? Or do you think you can just throw anything out there and people will buy it? Yes, I know there are some people that will buy whatever that you put out there, but I mean people that you don't know. So when I say that, I mean friends and family. How important is it that you represent yourself and your brand? And I'm actually, like I said, going to give you some suppliers tonight that are actually running sales. One supplier in particular we all know, so I'm going to talk about him first. All right? But when you're choosing the right container or vessel, it doesn't matter what you sell in this instance. I titled it Containers and Vessels. Hey, Crafty Soul Cafe and Simply 1126, welcome, welcome. You all are just chiming in for the conversation. How important is it that you're represented? Can you just pick up anything, is what I just asked the audience. All right. And the second thing is, let's talk about the different factors that you should consider when you're choosing containers. And containers can be what? For candle makers, concrete, metal or tins, right? Glass. Trying to think off the top of my head all the different types of stuff that we use. If you're a candle maker, you should not be using plastic unless you're making room sprays or something like that. But if you are in the body or the soap industry or any other industry, you have various containers that the general public looks for when you are packaging your items. Soap makers actually have it kind of easy if they do cold process soap, well, the bars, because they can actually do wraps around them, right? Do the real pretty wraps that they do. All right, so you got a couple things to think about, but how many people actually try to take their brand and execute it all the way through? Meaning that, like, my brand is very colorful, so I try to choose muted containers because I want the focus to be on the glitter or the botanicals that are inside. All right. And because my logo is colorful, that's another reason why I chose and choose muted containers or very monotone containers, because you don't want colorful on colorful, right? All right, so give me some feedback on some of the things that you all do, but also some other different factors that you should be considering when you're choosing your containers. How about if somebody has a bakery? Are they just going to go out there and just throw it in a bag, or should they go out there and throw it in a bag? What do you think about that? Because when we see bakers, we're looking for something that's see-through in most cases if they want it to be seen, so you can see what's inside, right? All right, so those are some things to think about, but let's see here. All right, so we've got materials. What about shapes and sizes? Do you want to have a little 1 ounce container all the time? If you're a candle maker, we usually use those as samples. But if you are in the beauty industry, body industry, or soaps, they can use those for various things. Lip balms, right, is an example. To go travel size lotions. You could even use them for wax melts, technically, on the candle side. How about massage oil candles to go? You could use them for that. If you're doing just a little 1 ounce, I wouldn't suggest anything smaller than that. Crafty Soul Cafe, let me give you your shout out, because I was invited to go, and I did actually go to see Crafty Soul Cafe. And if you go to my stories, I think it's still up, you can actually see her display, and she's changed all of her containers and her labeling, and it's very streamlined, clean. She's done a complete redo, so I told her I appreciated her for that, and I got a lot of ideas myself. All right, we talked about color, but what about design? How many people have custom containers, whether they be vessels, whether they be containers, tins? How many of you all have looked into that? All right, how many of you all have looked into that when you are looking at packaging for your business? And you're quite welcome, Crafty Soul Cafe. How many of you have looked into, for your business, branded packaging? So along with your containers, you're going for the whole complete look, right? Generally, most of us, it doesn't matter what business we have, we want a certain image out there, right? So when you're looking, those are all things, especially for those of you that are watching the replay and are new to business, you want to always, always, always think about your branding. It's important because that's how your customer identifies. No matter how many branding changes that you make, you always, oh, thank you, Jayla. You always want to make sure that you are consistent with your branding. And also, another question is, how many of you all change your containers or your vessels or your packaging every once in a while just to keep it fresh for you? Pretty much because the customers are like, oh, okay, this is nice. A lot of people don't go out and they don't spend a lot of money on packaging because what's the first thing that a customer does when they get our products? Oh, yeah, they'll look, right? Oh, that's nice, that's nice. And then what do they do with the box? They pitch it right out, right? And you spent all that money on boxes. So that's why you see a lot of handmade people not going with the custom boxes. Now, of course, subscription boxes are different. So keep that in mind if you are starting a new business. Try to buy things that are on sale and that are within your budget. All right? So, with that being said, because you all are quiet on both sides for me. So, what I just talked about was the third item that I had was how to use color and design to your advantage to make your product stand out. So, that's why you also see a lot of makers, doesn't matter what type of maker they are, we typically use white, black, or craft. Does that make sense? Most of us use those because they're interchangeable. We can make them look beautiful with ribbons, with stickers. You know, it doesn't matter. Did Abba come in the chat, Jayla? Did she finally come in? Because I didn't see her come in if she did. All right. So that's why when you are thinking of your packaging and your containers, it's okay if you get them on sale. It's okay if you go to Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and catch the spring sales. And by the way, that's a shameless plug for Hobby Lobby and Michael's. They are on sale right now. So let's jump over into the candle and the soap world. And the first supplier that I have up, and you all actually may know who he is because a lot of us learned from him in the beginning. And that is Jeff Stanley. For those of you who don't know, he has his own candle supply company right now that he's really getting off the ground good. He's been through some things. If you follow his YouTube channel, go over there and watch his videos, and he talks about his journey opening the supply house. I'm gonna give this secret away, and I should have went and ordered mine first, but he has, they are called lumens, and if I said it wrong, Jeff, I apologize. They are $2 right now. $2. And they are very nice size. So the name of his company is called West Sound Candles. West Sound Candles. And he has vessels for $2 right now in a variety of colors. All right. So go over there and check them out. If we have time, I'll pull it up at the end of the broadcast. But we definitely, oh, Courtney's doing it again. All right, so Courtney has put the link in the chat over on the YouTube side. And for Instagram, that is West Sound Candles. All right. All right. If you have any questions, Jeff is very responsive. Jeff and his team actually are very responsive. And the whole candle community, we always support Jeff because he supports all of us. So I definitely wanted to start out with Jeff. All right. The next supplier that I have is Hive and Honey. She's also a candle maker, just like Jeff, just like myself. She is having I think it's a 3-year birthday sale. I just got the email today. It's for 10% off, and that goes through the 12th. Hive and Honey. All right, they sell a variety of things, and she is also doing free wicks with the purchase. I don't remember what the purchase is, but all the information is over there. All right. The next one And this particular supply company, the next two suppliers were mentioned a lot during our fragrance series. All right. And the first one is our crew over at Midwest. All right. Midwest Candle Supply. This is a favorite of Courtney herself. Also, the Chandler's Rose, the Fragrance Nook. Everybody was talking about Midwest. All right. All right. I have a couple comments over here. All right. Welcome to those that just joined me over on Instagram. All right. So, Smell Good Spa says we used to package our deodorant powder in squeezable containers. We took in a squeezable container. We took note that our customers were getting older and that dexterity was weakening and switched to sleek glass large holes. Okay? So that is from Smell Good Spa. And as a matter of fact, Smell Good Spa, you'll do me a favor. What are all the things that you carry? Because Smell Good Spa is everywhere. She's on Amazon, she's on the internet, she's on Google, she's on TikTok, she's on Instagram. What are all the products that you do offer? I thought she just did soap, and every time I talk to her, I learned that she's done something different. All right, here's a comment from the Chandler's Rose. Hang on one second. Okay, she said, I am seeing more people use silver spray bottles for their room sprays or beard balms. Yep, that I see that a lot as well. All right, and Courtney put in the chat for YouTube. Hey, Hakeem, I need to get in touch with you too. All right, Courtney put Midwest Fragrance Co's information as well. And also all the suppliers we're talking about, they will be in the notes of this episode on YouTube. All right, Smell Good Spa also says that they love the silver spray bottles as well. They're always a staple. And Mahogany Organics is checking in. All right, and hello to her. All right, so the next one, so let me go over what I've told you so far. So Jeff over at West Sound Candles, they have $2 vessels on sale right now. Hive and Honey has 10% off due to a birthday sale. I believe it's their 3-year birthday sale. And then also Midwest is running 10% off as well. Again, you can go to those prospective suppliers to see when the sale ends. All right, the next one, the Fragrance Nook and the Chandler's Rose. She mentioned this particular place a lot, which is Bulk Apothecary. All right, but with Bulk Apothecary, it is only select clearance oils. They are up to 50% off on select clearance oils. They're changing up their line, making way for new products. So you can go over there and see what they have, because it was a list. It was more than one or two. So see if any of those will work for those recipes that we all talked about. All right, let me jump back over here to YouTube. And Smell Good Spa says, I am a fragrance crafter, and the fragrances are infused into incense, bath and body, personal care, and now our cosmetic formulators have helped us move into skincare. So, Smell Good Spa is one of the reasons that I am going to start talking about body or body products and skincare on this podcast. We haven't decided what night we're going to do it on, but we're definitely going to add that on, because there's a lot of people out there that are doing body, and nobody's really talking about it too much. Not like we do it over here anyway. All right, Courtney, thanks for posting Bulk Apothecary. All right, the next one that I saw was Dream Vessels. Dream Vessels, all right? And if you are a candle maker, most of us know about them, but they are having a sale on certain items for up to 70% off. All right, so that's Dream Vessels. All right, they also carry, if you do reed diffusers, they've also got reed diffusers. They also carry car fresheners, but those aren't on sale right now. Some of them might be. I didn't get a chance to go through the site, but I got an email for that today, up to 70% off. All right. And last but not least, this is not a candle supplier, but I got an email from Paper Mart that they are running certain items on sale for up to 15% off. All right. So I thought I would share that with you all as far as suppliers that I had off the top of my head. And also, I take that back. I got one more, which was and is the flaming candle. All right. And Courtney says, sign up for Dream Vessels text line so that you can get information on other deals. All right. I stopped, Courtney, I'm gonna be honest with you. I stopped doing a lot of the text stuff because I get tired of them sending me texts all times of the day and night. But again, that's a personal choice. And yes, a lot of them, if you sign up for their SMS service, you will get a discount, usually on your first purchase. All right. So let me repeat again for those that came in the room over on the Instagram side a little bit later that might need this information. And all of these suppliers are listed over on YouTube in the comments, and they will also be listed in the details of the video once it's posted. All right, the first one was West Sound Candles. Again, they have vessels on sale in a variety of colors. If you use glass, you might want to check them out. Leave me a couple black ones, please. I appreciate it. All right, Hive and Honey, 10% off. Again, all this information is in the chat. Midwest Fragrance Company. I believe it's the owner's birthday today. All right. And Bulk Apothecary also has 50% off select oils, clearance oils at that. And then Dream Vessels, up to 70% off of certain items. Paper Mart, and the Flaming Candle. All right, so those were all the ones that we mentioned thus far. So for those that just joined me on Instagram, hey Net Vans, how are you? Thank you for coming through. This is my podcast I do every week, primarily for candle and soap makers, and I appreciate you stopping through too. All right, and Courtney just posted Paper Mart. So for those of you that came late on Instagram, you are here to my right, so you see me looking back and forth because YouTube is directly in front of me, so I tend to look back and forth. All right. Does anybody have any feedback on what we talked about earlier about what difference, or how can it make a difference rather? How can it make a difference for your containers? Doesn't matter what business you're in or what product that you offer. What do you think about when you talk about containers? Should you go out and pick something wild and crazy? Do you need to do something that's muted? Do you need to do something that doesn't matter? You go with whatever theme it is that you have going, or can you do a combination of the above? What about if you have like, and Smell Good Spa is right on point with this. She just helped me out with my Smell Good Spa says she's on Dream Vessels now. Dream Vessels can get you in trouble. So, you know what? Yeah, we'll go ahead with this. And Jayla, you might have to jump in on this one. For those of you, now I gave you all U.S. suppliers, right? And Smell Good Spa, you are right on point. All right, I gave you U.S. suppliers, and we'll talk about Alibaba and those places in a second. All right, and what Smell Good Spa said is, I think about customers' safety, functionality, reuse purposes, and appearance. All right, and that's exactly where I was going. Do you want to get something that is hard for your customers to open? Again, doesn't matter what type of business it is. All right, and Smell Good Spa said everything pretty is not useful. So that is correct. So one of the things for me personally, when I am looking at containers or vessels for my candle line, I want to make sure that they don't take away from the candle, number one, and number two, that they are also reusable, because it's a big deal for me to use eco-friendly products, from the wax to the wicks to the dyes, even to the glitter that I use. All right. So what I want to make sure is that, and Rob from the Dapper Guru said that he agrees. All right, so let me stop the show here real quick because Abba just chimed in. So everybody in the chat over on Instagram and on YouTube, give Miss Abba. Hold on 1 second here. I should have had this ready. Give her a round of applause. The giveaway. All right. Good night, Rose. Feel better too, and thank you for jumping on. All right. So those are the things that you. Abba said, "What happened?" For those of you that are on Instagram, she doesn't know that she won, so she wanted to know why she got the hand clap. All right. You like that one, Maury? I finally got a chance to use it. All right. So when you are picking your, hey Lima Candles, when you are picking your containers, those are some of the things that you might want to keep in mind. Ease of use for your customers. Of course, we all want to make sure that our customers are pleased visually and aesthetically, of course, but we also want it to be easy for them to use. All right. And how about this one? Keep your containers consistent with your brand image. Right? Keep your containers consistent. And does that matter whether it's plastic, glass, metal, paper, cardboard, marble? Does that make a difference? Do you want to stay on brand for whatever it is that you're packaging? Whatever your company is that you have? Because customers love to have that experience, right? And that's why they all buy from us, right? Oh, hey, Penny. So Penny from Penny's Flame, she just joined, and Abba just learned, they're all clapping for her, that she just learned that she won the giveaway, and she said she hasn't won a giveaway in years. So Abba always is sending people over to me, so I'm extremely happy for you, Abba. All right, and Rob said that he agrees. Consistent packaging that makes sense to what you're packaging. All right, I'm going to give you a good example since my friend, sorry about that, Instagram, somebody's calling me. All right, I'm going to give you an example. Let me see. Hold on 1 second, YouTube. They knocked my Instagram out. Okay, I should be back now, right? All right, I'm going to give you an example with my friend Hakeem, and hopefully he's still on here. All right, Hakeem is a photographer, but he is a theme photographer pretty much, but he'll take any type of pictures, but he has a niche that he serves. So all of his pictures are always consistent, and a lot of people don't even know that that's him because he doesn't make it about him or his brand. He makes it about his subject. So whatever we do, we always want the customer to focus on our product, although the packaging is nice, right? That should be the goal for everybody, right? All right. So let me see. Smell Good Candle here says, if you change the packaging, articulate the reason to customers, you can even poll them. That is correct. I love doing polls. I try not to do too many polls over on Nuts About Candles to run everybody off. All right, and Jayla, thank you. She says these podcasts are so informative, and that's a form of my packaging because you all see I finally picked my colors. If you notice, I changed my background. Hey, Marcus, and hello to Noah and Aiden if you're watching. All right, so with thinking about all of that, I gave you some suppliers to get you started, right? How many of you, by a raise of hands in the chat, or you, if you don't want to put the hand symbol, you can put the 1. How many of you started out bare bones? And what I mean by bare bones is going to Dollar Tree, catching Michael's or Hobby Lobby when they had a sale when you first started before you got into the fancy stuff. How many of you do that? You start bare bones? People don't know where you get stuff from because most crafters also decorate stuff, right? So you don't know where they got it from. A lot of people take a plain paper bag and they'll put a stamp on it, and you go to a craft show and they've got them lined up with stickers and everything else, and you don't know where they got them from. So does that matter? All right. For those of you that are watching the replay that are new to any business, you don't have to compete with everybody else. You don't have to, because you just started your business, so you're still developing yourself and you should stay in your lane. Do you all agree with me? For those of you that are business owners, we get so caught up in trying to keep up with everybody else that we almost go bankrupt, right? And then you see a lot of people closing shop because they can't keep up, because you're not making money at that point. That's why they say it takes money to make money, right? All right. And so let's see. Jayla says, I use a container that doesn't show the frosting that comes with soy wax. Absolutely. All right. So for those of you that are, or use, excuse me, those of you that use 464. All right. So if this applies to you, put a 2 in the chat. How many of you are concerned about frosting? For those, as you've been in the business for a while, a lot of people don't care. That comes with working with wax. That was one of the reasons why I switched to cocoa soy wax, because I don't have the frosting. All right. If you are watching the replay and you have a comment that you want to put, we do check the comments. If not myself, one of my moderators will grab it if you need some advice. Same thing for Instagram. Just put a comment below this live and I'll post it after I finish the podcast. All right, so Jayla brought up a good point. So if I don't have the money, because you hear a lot of people talking about this in the candle groups, right? People are very creative, but what if you're like me and you don't get into all of that? What are some of the different ways that you can dress up a plain container? All right, and I have a guest that's going to come up and talk about this here shortly. But if you are a creative person, there's a machine called a Cricut that you could use, right? A lot of people have Cricuts. If you're a crafter, most of us have them. And I said us, including myself, and I don't use mine at all. But I have it in case I need it. There's a lot of things that you can do with a Cricut. Mahogany Organics. What was that machine you told me? Oh, the Mink machine. You can also use those. I'm going to try my hand at that. And yes, Rob, I'm actually going to use it because I want to get into the foil labels, all right, to kind of put a nice spin on my product. But I don't want it to take away from the glitter, all right, which is what I'm known for. All right, if you are looking to buy products from overseas, and maybe one day I'll see if I could talk Jayla into this. We had this discussion on Clubhouse and it was amazing. So I'll see if I can get her to do it one more time. She did a master class that was absolutely mind-blowing on how to order products from Alibaba. So I'll work with Jayla to see if I can get that information and we can talk about it on a podcast. All right. Yes, you can get things cheaper from Alibaba, and also Mahogany Organics. She helps me a lot source materials because you don't always have to get them from one particular place. It just depends on what you have going on. All right. Courtney, I still have those notes too. Courtney says she has notes from that class. It was, and I'm not saying that because Jayla's my friend. It really was a lot of good information. We were writing the entire class. All right. How about this? This goes to something that myself and Courtney talked about. We talked about it on an episode. How about de-stash groups? And let me tell you, we're going to do one here, but we're going to do it, I believe, Courtney, are we going to do it as a post or are we going to do it on the website? Because Courtney's working on that. All right. Rob said de-stash groups are gems, and they are. I would recommend that if you are just starting out, look at a de-stash group. All right. De-stash groups, but some of them can get out of control. And I would recommend that you use a service like PayPal or something like that. All right. Oh, Courtney says we can do it in the Facebook group. So we do have a Facebook group for this podcast. It is Bubblez with a Z and Flamez with a Z podcast community group, and it's scrolling across the screen. So it's Bubblez and Flamez podcast community group on Facebook. If you send over an invite, one of the mods will let you in, and we also broadcast over there every week. All right, so we're trying to grow that group so we can talk about a lot of things that we talk about on the podcast to keep the the group going. And Courtney, I'll take care of that for you. All right. Oh, see, we've got the first taker. Crafty Soul Cafe. I have hundreds of oils that I need to destash. All right. So we'll get that worked out. Crafty Soul Cafe, I will reach out to you. All right. And Smell Good Spa said, wow, I remember those groups when Yahoo had groups. I loved them. All right. So for us, we don't mind doing whatever that you all ask us to do, as long as it's legal, of course. But it's a lot from an admin perspective. So I don't want to overwhelm those that help me in the background by taking on all these new ventures, because I also have a website that I'm doing. We have the D-Stash group. We have a lot that's planned for the podcast. All right. So we will definitely get the D-Stash group going. We also added, and Rose jumped off from the Chandler's Rose, but we are also going to once a month add the fragrance conversation. All right. I'm looking at right now, I need to get with Rose on her schedule and a couple others to see how often they want to speak, because it's not going to always be me. But the blend series was such a big hit. We had people ask us, could we do it again? So we agreed we're going to not only do it again, but we're going to make it a ongoing episode on the podcast once a month. All right. So a lot of blends were given. We'll dive deeper into the notes and things like that. I am not an expert on that, so I have asked other candle and soap makers to help out, because I think that would be huge for a lot of us. Even if you sell perfumes, if you do room sprays, body sprays, candles, wax melt, soap, it was very, very helpful, and it was a lot of fun. All right. All right. So on both sides, let me get a 3 in the chat if you would like to add classes to the podcast. It would not be in the format that we're in right now. This would be separate or either on the website. So we're going to do a quick poll, and I should have had that ready. But how do you all feel about that? How about adding classes? I got 1-3 over here on YouTube. I'll wait to see what Instagram says. Different classes that would help everybody, not just candle and soap makers, business classes. There's a thing with AI that's huge right now, and using that, incorporating that into your business. Okay, I have 2 3s over here. All right, so let me see how you all feel about that, and we will try to add that to the platform, because I am a educator by trade. I am a software trainer, and I like to train and hold classes and give education to people, because a lot of people are gatekeeping right now. All right, so we will work on that. I've got 2 3s so far. I'll see if anybody on Instagram is interested in that, but we'll look at that for the future. All right, Jayla, you'll do me a huge favor and put in the comments for Abba and everybody else that's interested what you thought about your candle, because she actually got it today. All right, and while Jayla is typing, Mr. Robert, are you okay with me bringing you up to talk about some of the things that you wanted to input into this conversation about containers, branding, vessels, etc.? Are you ready? And I paused because I'm waiting for them to respond to me in the chat, so you all bear with me for a second. All right. All right. So this gentleman that I am bringing to the stage is a friend of mine. He is also one of my accountability partners, and we're going to have a discussion about business accountability partners. Jayla is one of my other ones. Also, Kita from Mahogany Organics. See, I have several for different things and different reasons, right? Of course, I told you my girlfriend Maury, my friend Marcus. For different reasons, I have accountability partners, right? So this gentleman is one of my friends, but he's also my accountability partner. But he has a business called Dapper Guru, and he is a huge, huge person on branding. So I will bring Mr. Rob up to the stage. And give me 1 second. All right, Rob, they should be able to hear you. Can you say something for us? Make sure you're unmuted.
Hello.
There you go. All right, all right. So, what did you want to add to the conversation?
Um, I think
What's
I
important to
think
you? Let me say that. Let me rephrase that.
yeah.
What's important to you when you're making your selections? Because you know I absolutely love your branding. Why do you feel that your branding is like it is, and why did you make that decision when choosing your vessels? I know the answer, but I want everybody else to hear it.
Okay. The great actually really great question. Um, I really I really chose so my I would say my philosophy about packaging for me is I always want clean. So when I think about packaging, I always look at it as my product that's in the on the shelf. And I always want the customer to know what it is, right? Because customers, even online, customers have a really fast attention span. And any type of thing that gets in the way of that, if they have any confusion, it could be a split second confusion. They're quick to move on. So how
Ah,
I do
you all can't
mine,
hear him at all.
oh my god, hello? Can they hear me?
I had to hook Instagram up so that they could hear you. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
All right. Yes. So when I look at my branding, or I won't say branding so much. I would say packaging. So when I did my packaging and my labels, I really wanted something that's clean. So I have black and white labels because that's clean. Black and white actually, black on white. So black lettering, white background is easier. I mean, everyone's used to it because in books and everything like that, that's on the computer screens. That's pretty much what's presented, and it's easier for the eye, so it doesn't cause eye strain, or it's when you look at it, it's easier to look at. So that was also one of the reasons because I wanted my labels to be able to be read clearly and cleanly without any distractions. And so I have a really clean label. And what I did was when you're I don't want to go into a big spiel, but when you're doing labeling and to and wording and fonts and all that stuff does is kind of leads the customer to know where to look. So one thing that I did was the actual like what it's for. So if it's a beard oil or beard balm or beard butter, I have beard as kind of in the it's like the biggest thing, right? It's a big font that's bold. So when a customer sees that product, they already know that it's a beard product, right? Or it's a body product or it's a soap, you know? And so I that's kind of my philosophy is I like the my customers to kind of know what the product is, and it's easier for them to know, oh, that's a that's a soap, or oh, that's a beard product, because it kind of lessens the confusion. And so so that's kind of how I did my labeling. That's my philosophy around my labeling. My packaging really is based on your product and what makes the perfect sense for your product. So if you have a liquid product or liquid soap, then for instance, if you have like a liquid soap and you probably want it in a bottle that's easier, it's easy for the customer to dispense with it and use it, right? So when I'm looking at packaging, I'm also looking at how the customer is going to use it and what's in its natural state, right? Not how I use it, but how just someone who doesn't know the product at all, how naturally they're going to use it. So as liquid soap, I put it in a bottle with a like a tab that they can like press down and it and it opens up and they can just pour it. When I do my beard, butter obviously is in a jar that they can finger in and scoop out because the consistency of the butter is pretty, it's a solid, it's pretty semi-solid. Um, when it comes to my shave soap, so what happened was I actually had it in a paper. I actually had it in a paper, like a paper wrapping, right? Which is fine, but customers and even how I use it, I realized that a lot of people use a tin is better because number one, it's easier to travel with, especially when it comes to shipping. It's easier to ship a tin than it is to ship paper because the paper will kind of it will kind of get crinkly and squished and things like that. And so when it comes to the customer, it's all it's all beat up, and so it doesn't look great when the customer opens the packaging and the paper's kind of messed up. And so a tin kind of when it comes to traveling and kind of first impressions, it's great for that. It's great for traveling. So if the customer wants to take the soap with them and travel with them, they don't have to go out and find another, container and stuff like that. It's already in a tin container. And then when they use it, especially with a shave soap and they're using it with a brush, they can just use it within the tin. So when it comes to packaging, you have to look at how you have to look at all of those things. So you have to look at, does it make sense for this product to be packaged in this type of container or packaging? And then you have to think about, well, how is this going to get to the customer? Like if you're doing glass, right? Glass is heavier, but glass is also obviously more fragile. So then you have to think about, okay, then that means that I have to make sure that it's packaged correctly, right? And so and then you got to think about, okay, when how's the customer is going to use it, right? Because once it's in a customer hands, we can't, even though we had directions on the packaging or on the label, we don't really know how the customer use it any type of way they want to. So you also got to take an account of that, like how the customer is going to use it, and then and how easy it is for the customer to use it. So a lot of times it's not really based on like, oh, this is because it could be like, oh, this is a cute, this is a nice package, right? It's nice packaging. But for me, it's like that's impractical, right? So sometimes we kind of have to like play that balance of like, you want something that's appealing, but also you want something that's actually functional that the customer is actually going to use because at the end of the day, the customer needs to be able to actually use it. It's an actual product. And so for me, I kind of use it and I kind of use colors. Like for me, I use black tins for my shave soaps and things like that because it goes along with my brand. And then with my bottles, I kind of use amber because of the simple fact that amber one is I like with my black and white labels with amber, it's a nice contrast to that. Um, it also because of amber, it also kind of protects like the product from light, so it kind of helps with the sun and kind of eroding the product. Sorry if you hear the train, but so there's a lot of things when it comes to packaging you have to think about. It's not just like, oh, I want this to be presented in a pretty packaging because a pretty packaging might be impractical for the actual product. One thing that I do is like if you need to package something in a maybe I don't say boring, but maybe a plain packaging, you can always spice it up with, a label and vice versa. If you have I kind of do this, like if you have a like, interesting color pattern that's in the packaging, you probably don't want the label to actually reflect that because of it can be confusing, especially if it can be too much. So I kind of do either or. You either have a simple label and then maybe a color or a pattern in the actual container or package. And then if you have like a really, interesting package, if you have a really interesting container, then you probably want the label to be actually more on the kind of clean and plain, I won't say plain, but more on the clean side. So it's easier for the customer to read the packaging. Cause that's at the end of the day, that's kind of what practicality wise, you want the customer, you need the customer to see what the product is. Especially, I would say this online, it might be different because you can actually um, present products in different ways for the customer. But in retail, you definitely want the customer to know when they look at something to know what it is so they can be like, oh, that's for beer. And then they can go and investigate further. You don't, a lot of times, you don't want, customers to look at something and not know what it is because a lot of times people don't have the time to sit there and start reading things. So, like I said, with packaging, there is there's a lot there's a lot of um there's a lot of considerations, like I said, for packaging that isn't just, oh, this is a pretty packaging. I think that's all that I have just kind of on the top of my head. Anyone have any questions? I would also go
I'm steady
into
talking to y'all and y'all couldn't hear me because I didn't unmute myself. Can you hear me?
uh,
Maury, thank you.
yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you all hear me in the chat on YouTube? Janine, thank you. Janice, thank you. All right. So give me just a second. Can you all hear me in the chat on YouTube? I have to figure out how to get the
Yeah, they can
users
hear you.
over on Instagram over here on YouTube so that if we have guests, you can hear. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Abba and Courtney. All right. So let me do this in closing. First of all, Rob, thank you for coming up. Greatly appreciate it because everybody's shy to come up. But I wanted to point something out and piggyback on something that Rob had said about amber. If you are storing fragrance, you want to keep it in a amber container or a dark container. It lasts longer. All right. Rob Abba said thank you as well. All right. So something else that you want to do is if you are storing things long term, or at least this is what I recommend because I learned this the hard way, definitely keep them in the amber or even in the containers that they come in, but keep them in a dark space. All right, because they do last a little bit longer. All right. So in conclusion, here's here's why I wanted to talk about containers, vessels, and a little bit on packaging again today. What I wanted to talk about is your vessels, your branding, your image. Everything is you. It's reflective of your brand. So you want to make sure that you are doing the best that you can because it's your image. All right. I didn't turn Rob. I'm gonna kick you off the stage for a second because my computer is giving me a message here. Okay. All right. Abba just said, and this makes complete sense. Appreciate what Rob said about making it clear on your packaging what the product is. All right. And I completely agree with her. And that is exactly what I was getting ready to say, but I was going to close it out by saying the right container can make your product look more professional, and it's more likely to be noticed by potential customers. All right, and it will help you stand out from the competition. All right, so that's what I wanted to leave you all with. Again, over on Instagram, Crafty Soul Cafe, I appreciate you, and I'm going to end the podcast there, and I will post this and tag you in it. YouTube, hang on 1 second. All right, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to end the Instagram. Thank you for the heart too. Talk to you later. All right, for those of you that are over here on YouTube, I appreciate you all for hanging out with me and dealing with the technical difficulties. Rob, thank you for coming up. If you are watching the replay, again, thank you for coming. And don't forget to go and support the suppliers that I mentioned. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact those suppliers. They all are very, very helpful. All right. And we don't know what's going to be up next week. I wanted to ask you all any suggestions for next week. And no, I'm not going to do fragrances. We're going to give fragrances a break to give Courtney, Rose, and myself a mental break. But anything for next week? I've got some things that are in my mind, but I wanted to ask you all first. And of course, congratulations, Abba. Let me turn my camera on so she can see me. All right, I'm so happy for you, Abba, and contact me to send me your address and I'll get that out to you. All right, everybody have a blessed evening. Thank everybody for tuning in, and I will see you all soon. Good night. Abba, here's one more. All right, good night, everybody, and talk to you all soon. Have a good week.